What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV here, and the Premier League is upon us. It really is upon us. The Premier League has kicked off now, and tomorrow it is Tottenham's time to say hello to this year's Premier League against the last year's champions, Manchester City, 4:30 at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. I mean, look, the last couple of times we played them at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium hasn't been too bad, has it?
Well, I'll tell you what, when was the last time we lost in Tottenham against Man City? It's been a while.
A long time.
It's been a while because
we won the last few at White Hart
We lost
Lane.
2 at Wembley in a row, or was it 3 in a row? No, 2 at Wembley in a row, and then after that, it's been pretty. We've had good results against Man City.
We won like the last 2 or 3 at White Hart Lane, didn't we?
We did, because we beat 4-1 with Lamela scoring that mad game.
Yeah.
Beat him 2-0 when we had no Harry Kane. That was last season at White Hart Lane, and then the first game back at the new stadium, Bergwijn, 2-0, and then not Bergwijn. We had we beat him 2-0 with a penalty. They missed a penalty. Oh no, it was Bergwijn.
No, that was Bergwijn, and then it was Lo Celso.
And then Lo Celso, yeah. So 4 in a row we've won against them. Not bad. Not bad going, is it?
4 in a row in N17 with a 2-year break in between.
We took a 2-year hiatus, I would say. Right.
But look, this game, I think you got to say that this is probably the perfect time to play Manchester City, isn't it?
Yeah, early on the season, no De Bruyne, no Foden, players coming back from the Euros. Sterling's exerted himself a lot. Grealish had a lot to play in the Euros. Still no Harry Kane through the door. They haven't got him yet. So they're not going to
feel like a bit of a handover this game.
It does, kind of, yeah, exactly. It's, so there's that element to the game as well. But I think they're going to be stronger than they were in the Community Shield. I've got no doubt about that. They're going to have a stronger team out. But I'd much rather be playing them now than later on in the season. So we could maybe be catching them at a good time. And knowing Spurs will probably win and put ourselves in a full sense of security and then go on a bad run. But I think
we'll lose to Wolves.
Exactly. But I reckon this it's probably a good time to be playing City, but I wouldn't still say we're favourites or we should be getting a result or it's likely we're going to get a result. I'm just saying it's probably the better time than any to play them.
Yeah, I would agree with you there, 100%. I think that when you're looking at this game, like, let's say you're an outsider looking at this game, probably give Spurs absolutely no chance, right?
You would, because I think you're looking at last season. If you're not a Spurs fan, you don't see the inner workings of what's going on. You're thinking you brought in Nuno, who's arguably a worse manager than Mourinho. We have got rid of players and only got one in Romero. Got a sub keeper, and Brian Hill was a young player. Where's the improvement coming from? But I think as Spurs fans, what we've seen so far, I think Nuno's getting a good positive feeling around the club again. The way I think we're going to approach this game in particular with the front four that's played against in pre-season, I think could work really well against this City side. It could help prevent them playing football out at the back, and it could really help Spurs create a platform, winning the ball high up in the final third, and that's how we can create chances. And yes, I think defensively, we could still probably found wanting, which is probably going to cost us a win this week. I think we can definitely hurt them at the back though, and that's where I'm confident we can really press them high and maybe press them into some mistakes.
Do you think, on the flip side of that, do you think Nuno will be looking at the last 2 games we did play at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium against Man City, where Jose was our manager, and it was a complete different philosophy, wasn't it? It's a complete other end of the spectrum. We sat deep, we soaked it up, and we hit them on the counter-attack. Do you think Nuno will resist the urge to kind of do that, seeing as we have found success the last 2 games against them there?
Well, Nuno reportedly likes to kind of adjust his game plan to who the opposition is. He likes to have a system in place, but he likes to maybe be a bit more pragmatic against teams he thinks we're inferior and stuff like that. I'm sure we're going to be pragmatic. I don't doubt about that. I'm sure that we get a majority of the time City are going to have the ball and we're going to have to be in a solid shape. And I'm sure Nuno's trained the players on that. But I also think we're going to be a lot more aggressive throughout the game than we maybe were in those games. I think we're going to look for opportunities to pinch the ball in the final third and maybe on the halfway line than we did in those games. In those games, we were extremely deep, and we kind of had to build our counter attacks from deep in a way. I think in this kind of game, we're going to try, maybe not all the time, but we're going to pick our moments to try and catch City out on higher up the pitch. And I think we're going to see a lot more of that in this one, I think.
When you're looking at, in terms of both of our starting lineups, start off with the Spurs one. I mean, we'll get into the predicted lineup a bit later, but in terms of like personnel. Dele Alli, he's been used pretty much every game, hasn't he, during pre-season? Do you think this is the right game for him?
Probably not, but I think it depends how much trust Nuno has in him and how much belief he has in what he's bringing to the table. I think he's had a solid pre-season. I think people might be going overboard because he had a few good games, a few iffy games. I would say he had a decent pre-season, nothing too spectacular in my opinion. And it depends. A lot depends on how ready Giovanni Lo Celso is. Looks like Ndombele is not going to be involved, so we can rule him out pretty much. Does he put a more pragmatic player like Winks in and hand Skipp and Højbjerg in the middle and bulk up the midfield, or does he add maybe a bit of creativity and a bit of a guile, but he could lose a bit in aggression and a bit of get overrun in midfield. So it depends how he addresses it.
You have to put a player in there that has a bit of both, because we can't go into that midfield with no sort of flair at all.
Depends how pragmatic he wants to be.
In my opinion, you've got to go for a midfield three of Skipp, Højbjerg and Lo Celso, because Lo Celso can marry the two, you know what I mean? He's got that aggression. Yeah, it depends how, of course, but he has that aggression and he has that creativity as well, and he's got that flair about him, and he can beat a few men and get it to the front men. So, I mean, that's the way I would go. Was that the way you would go too?
If Gio's ready, then I'll do it, because I think he's the perfect player to have in that system. So I'll definitely go Gio. If he's not ready, I would be tempted to go Dele, but Dele needs to make sure he's on his game defensively, because against Man City, if one player is off their game defensively and not tracking their men and not doing the right things, then you could be caught out very, very easily. So it depends how pragmatic Nuno wants to go. But I would be, if it was not Lo Celso, people might not like it, but I'll be tempted to go Winks. People might not like it, but I'd be tempted just to make sure we're solid. It depends. Maybe he might feel that Dele could win the ball up high up in the pitch. He could help in that aspect. I just feel like with Dele, if he isn't, which he has been in pre-season, but if he isn't doing the right things off the ball, then we're going to get hurt, and that's the problem. So it depends.
I kind of feel like if we were to go with Winks, it would be playing like with one man down in midfield straight away.
No, that's a bit harsh.
That's what I feel. I feel like if Gio's ready, he's got to go in. He has to. Tungi is not ready. If it's between a Dele or a Winks, I'd actually go for Dele. I would. Even though you know the powers of the Man City midfield, seeing as it is so early on in the midfield and they're not all going to be there. I mean, who is the most kind of where can we get at them the most?
I think, look, their team is just so imperious, but I think that maybe at the back you got to think their high line could be caught at, because we've got such speed in our forward line. Lucas, Son and Bergwijn, those three could really get at the back line. Not only at pressing them, but once they do get the ball, they'll have plenty of space to run into. So that is where we need to make sure that we are exploiting that space. Because the players like Son, Bergwijn, not necessarily Moura, but Son and Bergwijn, they definitely need space to run into to really to really make the most of their game. So I think pressing them early doors, if their passing game isn't on it, and they're if they're maybe early in the season, if they're a bit off the boil, maybe they don't kind of have their passing game on point, then we can get at them. Mm-hmm. And especially if we have both Skipp and Højbjerg in there, very solid defensive players, they could definitely, I'm hoping they can really have a battle against Rodri and Gundogan. Maybe they can get the better of it if they're on point, because I think hopefully Højbjerg is going to have some help now.
Do you think it will be a Rodri and a Gundogan and no Fernandinho?
If it is Fernandinho and Rodri, I would worry a bit more, because I think that would really nullify what we have, and it would be very hard for us to build an attack. I think if they have Gundogan, they might have more on the ball, but at least they'll be more gettable off the ball. So I'm hoping it's Gundogan. Not because I think he's a worse player. I think there'll be more of a threat with him on the pitch. I just feel like we'll have more ability to hurt them if he's on the pitch.
In terms of an Ollie Skipp coming into this game, I mean, it's a big step for him, isn't it? It's a big step to come in against the champions after a season in the Championship. Yes, he did amazing in his season last year, but do you feel like he can handle it? Can he handle this occasion?
Look, I wouldn't be surprised if they get the better of him, because he's young. He's still learning his game as much as he learned a lot at Norwich. Doesn't mean he's the finished article or the perfect player just yet. Any player, doesn't matter how good you are, when you're 20 years old and you're coming against the best team in the country, it's always going to be difficult. So even if he has an awful game, not awful, but even if he struggles, I would say, I would still like be patient and still say, look, he did struggle, doesn't mean he's not ready to play for Spurs yet.
Yeah.
One thing you know he's going to give is 100% commitment. He's going to run himself into the ground. He's not going to leave anything on the pitch.
Sounds like you're explaining Lamela.
Huh? Well,
sounds like you're explaining Lamela.
Look, I'm just saying he's going to be hungry. And I don't think he'll be a liability. Even if he's outclassed a bit, I don't think he's going to be a liability, for example, losing his man, things like that, not getting in the right positions at the right times, not helping out the defence when they need an extra body in midfield and need a midfielder to go into the penalty area and start mopping things up. He's not afraid to do the dirty work, and that's what's great about him. So even if, it's even the best of players can get outclassed from these City midfielders. So I'm not expecting him to play them off the park. What I'm expecting is a performance to let us know that he is a Premier League player and he wants to be at Tottenham and not out on loan again.
Talking of Eric Lamela, it actually just made me think about it just now. Do you think we'll actually miss Eric Lamela this season in these kind of games?
I mean, maybe off the bench, yeah.
Yeah, like off the bench, because how many times in a big game has Eric Lamela come off the bench or even started in and made a real positive impact?
Yeah, maybe Hill can do that for us.
Maybe. Yeah. Do you reckon Hill will be on the bench?
Yeah, I reckon he might be on there.
I mean, his fitness should be up to speed, shouldn't it?
Yeah.
Because, he had his break before the Olympics. He's got up to speed at the Olympics, and now he should be fit and firing.
Yeah, and hopefully he could be a player that if we need to get a goal, if we are behind or late in the game, he can really come on and maybe create something. That's what we're hoping for. Obviously, don't want to expect too much from him because he's still young, still needs to adapt to a new league. But I'm hoping Hill would be involved in this game. In terms of your question on Lamela, will we miss him? I think he did a great job off the bench. I think he would make a good impact. But look, it wasn't exactly like every time he came on.
I'm not saying should we miss him in terms of the quality of football he brings. I'm talking about that sheer grit and sheer will on the pitch, to hack those men down, to non-stop chasing. You know what I mean?
Maybe.
Because in those big games, those things are very, very much needed.
Yeah, so we need someone else to do it.
Yeah, but who can you imagine doing something like that, like Lamela? Lamela used to go out at war every single game. We don't have someone else that could do that.
It's true. I don't know. Or Hill's supposed to be a hard worker, so I don't know. I don't know.
But you get what I'm saying. You get what I'm saying.
I know what you're saying, but it's not something that you could take into account. I don't think when you're thinking about selling a player like Lamela.
No, I agree with you. I'm not saying that just because of that we should have kept him. I'm just thinking maybe in these big games we will be missing a bit of bite.
Maybe. I hope you're wrong. I think maybe Skipp can add that extra bit of bite that Lamela maybe brought. But obviously, there's a big cloud covering this game in the Harry Kane saga.
This is the Harry Kane handover game. That's what this is.
Look, he's been training today and training Saturday, hopefully. Nuno's saying it's possible he could be involved. Do we think how first of all, do we think he should be involved, and second of all, how does it affect our chances in this game? Forget about keeping him, whatever. Put that to one side for today. How do you think it affects our chances whether he is involved or not?
I think that in case if he doesn't play, well, I think either way, if he does play or if he doesn't play, I think there is still something lumbering in the back of Spurs players' minds saying, is he staying? Is he going? I mean, I don't know if maybe internally the answer's been said already to them. Maybe internally things are going on behind the scenes that we don't know about. But I don't know how it's going to impact the game. I really don't. But I think that we've shown against Man City how we can do it without Harry Kane before. Mm-hmm. And I think Heung-min Son's the real danger man for us, regardless of Harry Kane, against Man City. And he's shown that time and time again against Man City. So in my opinion, I think if Kane is willing to play and if he's fit, I'd still start him on the bench.
But do you think it affects our chances of getting a result, whether he's on the bench or not?
No, I don't really think it impacts it too much.
Do you think maybe if he is on the bench, at least there's more of a chance maybe we could get a goal late on in the game if he comes on?
Of course. You can't doubt against Harry Kane. He's a top class talent, world class ability, one of the best, if not the best striker in the world. So you always got more of a chance of getting a goal when he's coming on as opposed to, let's say, a Brian Hill or whoever it may be, Dane Scott, you know what I mean? So obviously we've got more of a chance to get a goal later on if he comes on with half an hour, 20 minutes to go. Yeah, that's it. I think you're right. I think we do have a chance later on in the game if he does come on. But do you actually think he's going to play a part in this game?
So difficult to know. I don't.
I don't think he's going to play a part. I do think he's going to be on the bench though.
No, I maybe, but yeah, I don't think he's going to play any minutes. I think, and I think if he doesn't play any minutes, it's going to be very telling as to how far along we believe the deal might actually be. So, because I don't think if it is far along, and there is a real possibility this is going to happen, then I don't think they would want to wish the injury. I don't think Kane would, or maybe Kane would want to, if it is like the last time he played in front of fans, maybe he'll want that goodbye. But it's unlikely the club would or would want that to happen. That could be the case because one bad tackle, he's out for 3 months or so, and that could definitely affect the deal. Maybe Kane won't want that. So it depends. I think if he is involved, in my opinion, I don't think the deal is anywhere near done if he's involved. And I think that would be an indication of that. That's how I would see it anyway. And one other person, I guess, it is a big game for us. Our new centre-back, Romero.
Kuti. Yeah, I mean,
I
think he's going to start Kuti.
Yeah, if he starts, that's a big statement from Nuno, I think, for me, starting him straight away when he's had an injury.
What does that statement tell you?
That statement tells me he doesn't trust any of the other centre-backs. Like, really doesn't. If he's putting in this player who he has barely seen in training straight away, if he's putting him in, tells me he doesn't trust the other centre-backs, and also tells me he really believes this guy is that good that he can come in straight away and perform against one of the best teams in the country.
At the end of the day, Nuno's not blind. Yeah, he's been a Premier League manager for enough time now. He's seen Tottenham week in, week out. He saw us last season. I'm sure he's analysed us to a team before he was Spurs manager, never mind being a Spurs manager. Now he's seen them week in, week out in training. I mean, we all know, as fan base, Eric Dyer and Davinson Sanchez are not good enough right now. We all know that. Joe Rodon, I want to give him some time and leave him to the side because he hasn't had enough time in a Spurs shirt. But in terms of Eric Dyer and Davinson Sanchez, we know that they're not good enough. And I think it's telling already that we've brought in Romero and we're looking to bring in another centre-back right now. We're linked heavily now with Milenkovic. We were linked with Pau Torres. We're non-stop linked with centre-backs. And I think it's telling already that we're trying to bring in 2 centre-backs. And I think from the off, he doesn't trust them.
Yeah, but I just think it would be interesting from a managerial point of view. He's played with these centre backs throughout the whole of pre-season, and we haven't defended the best, but they've been okay, especially in the last game.
We haven't had a choice in pre-season though.
I know, but against Arsenal and against
Chelsea.
Against Arsenal specifically, Sanchez and Dyer played quite a good game. And from a managerial perspective, you want to get the players on side. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
So I do think it'll be interesting considering how little training time he's had. If he does put him straight in, I just think that's an interesting.
I mean, the only one it'll be a kick in the. I mean, I think Dyer starts this game.
Yeah.
So the only one it'll be a kick in the teeth to is Davinson Sanchez,
which we know we want to sell anyway.
And Davinson Sanchez knows he's on the transfer list pretty much, but he's come back confident because other teams are interested in him. So if he plays or if he doesn't play, he knows that Tottenham are looking to get out of him, and if he plays, he still knows Tottenham are looking to get rid, but he's going to want to try and play for his move. You know what I mean? For other teams to be interested and to carry on being interested in him. And I think I can't see Nuno trusting Davinson already.
I just think there's a lot we could read into these the lineup because I think it's very interesting what first lineup he's going to play. I know he's kind of played the same lineup a bit in pre-season, but I still think we could learn a lot from what he selects on Sunday. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to getting the season underway under new era and under Nuno. I think
the Nuno era.
Exactly. I think if we can get off to a good start, hopefully that could lead on to great things for the season. And it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see how we approach the game, how we play, and hopefully we can use this game as a springboard. Hopefully, if we lose, hopefully it's not too bad of a defeat, and we can take the positives out of it. We don't want to get battered, and I just think there is a decent chance we can get at least a point in this game. I do think there's a decent chance of it. We'll see if a win is within our grasp. And I guess we'll get into a pretty lineup, but I guess, we'll have to wait and see how it plays out.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing I wanted to say is obviously they're 100 million man in Jack Grealish.
Yeah.
Do you think he starts? And if he does start, how the hell do we stop him?
Considering if he plays on the left,
exactly,
who
that's
is
what
up
I'm
against.
saying. That's what I'm saying.
Definitely don't want Doherty there.
Definitely don't want Aurier there either.
Oh no, yeah, it has to be. I don't think Aurier is even an option.
And probably don't even want Tanganga there.
Yeah, but I know, but I don't think Aurier's not an option. I don't think he's even considering Aurier. I think he's pretty much out the door. I think he's a different case.
He has come on here and there in pre-season.
Yeah, but he hasn't started any of the games. I just feel like he's a player who's not in consideration. That's how I feel with him. Right now, it's a choice between Doherty and Tanganga. Tanganga had a great game against Arsenal. I think defensively he's stronger than Doherty right now. So in this game, he would have to play Tanganga. Will he struggle to cope with Grealish? I'm sure he will, but I think he'll cope better than Doherty will.
Wow, that's telling. That's telling for Matt Doherty. It really is. Are you confident? Confident going into this one? Or are you just happy to have football back?
I'm happy to have football back. I'm confident we can get a draw. I'm not confident we'll get the win. I still think it'll be difficult to get a draw, but I think if we really are on top of our game, I think we can get a point in this one.
What are you going for?
2-2.
Desmond.
You
went for 1-1 in the last video.
No, I didn't. I went for 2-2.
Oh, you went for 2-2?
Yeah.
Oh, I went for 2-1 Spurs. That's what I went for,
yeah.
2-1 Spurs. I'm going to stick with it. I think that we're going to go for the hat-trick at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium of beating Man City. But I want to know your score predictions in the comment section below. It is the kickoff of the Premier League. The Premier League is back. Tottenham are back. And what a bigger game than Spurs against Manchester City to open up the Premier League for Tottenham Hotspur. I want to know your score predictions in the comment section below. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always, come on you Spurs.